All right, we're back. This is John.
Hey, it's Paul.
And it's Eric.
And I'm Ray.
Hey, and this is What If Geeks. Wow, you flowed in on that one really nice.
Yeah,
Good.
thank you.
Get an intro episode, and he said, fuck it.
Right.
Part of the ship, part of the crew. All right, so for What If Geeks today, this is December 3rd. Yeah. And we are going to review Mandalorian Chapter 4. So let's just jump right into this shit, because, damn, it's getting late.
All right, we're going to do something a little different this week. So normally we do the episode breakdown first. This week there was something special that happened right in this episode, because Favreau is a genius, basically. But so
He will be taking over the franchise. I swear. He has to.
That's going to be on our rumor mill episode shortly.
Yeah.
But anyway, so this whole entire episode is basically, it's an adaptation of Akira Kurosawa's Seven Samurai. The whole thing, right? Yeah. And I know Paul watched it too, and he said Magnificent Seven. Well, Magnificent Seven was also adaptation of Seven Samurai.
Yeah, right.
So,
and Battle Beyond the Stars, don't forget that.
Yeah, well, and Sinister Six was sort of a cheap knockoff, and there was Seven Samurai, the anime series, and even within Star Wars, the Clone Wars Bounty Hunter episode had themes that they sort of stole from.
Yep. So, yeah.
Well, they didn't steal. We don't say that, but you know what I mean. So yeah, there's been a bunch of stuff really, but in any case, so we wanted to start this with parallels, right? The parallels that we saw from that into this episode, and there's a whole bunch of them really, but we'll just try to run through them quick, so we're not here all night. So of course the protagonist in Akira's film is a samurai who has no master, right? He's a Ronin or whatever, and these villagers approach him and they want him to come defend their village. Well, he can't do it alone. He's got to pick somebody up. So just like Mando picks up Kara, you know, we're starting off sort of the same here. And then the villagers in the movie have no money. Right. So the village elder tells him, you go find some hungry samurai. Right? Because we don't have any money. And essentially the same thing happens here. They've got to offer him.
Scrape together whatever
it's not money he wants. He's like, no, hell with you. You guys don't have enough money. It's you live out in the middle of nowhere. You've got quarters for me? Okay. Yeah, I'm down with that. So the samurai, of course, train the villagers to defend themselves. They don't want to do it alone. And of course, Kara and Mando are going to also train these guys. And then there's sort of a metaphorical thing here. So in the Seven Samurai, the bandits have flintlock pistols, and the farmers don't have squat. They have spears and bows, right? So they have this major technological advantage over them. Obviously, that wouldn't work here, right? The Mando couldn't show up at the village without his weapons, because as he said, what was that last episode?
Yeah. Weapons
two.
I'm
a Mandalorian. That was two, yeah. I'm a Mandalorian. Weapons part of my religion, right? So you can't show up with that. So they have to give some sort of parallel. So the ATST is essentially the metaphorical stand-in for the flintlock pistols, right? And that gives the bandits the major advantage. And so, on our page and elsewhere, we're talking, people are crying about he could have just destroyed everything with his ship.
Yeah, I saw that.
Then it wouldn't be an adaptation, though.
Right.
I mean, it wouldn't have worked, right?
That's okay.
So,
we're still going to get to more of that later. But
so
not the ship.
Use whatever logic you need to. He had to leave his ship behind because Bounty Hunter would find him too easy if it was parked by the village.
Yeah,
I don't know
they
what
tracked
it is.
the metal in the ship. It was too big to be in that area.
Who knows?
Sure, that'll work.
Who knows what it is? But the point is, the adaptation wouldn't work if he had the superiority in this, right? It can't be that way. So that's it. You got to deal with it.
Yeah.
So
I dealt with that part.
So there is a bit of a forbidden relationship aspect to this, right? So in the original film, one of the samurai has a relationship with a farmer's daughter. The farmer finds out, he gets pissed, he's beating his daughter, and then everybody's like, okay, hold on, let it go. These tensions were high, and it wasn't meant to be ultimately. And the same thing happens here, although it's with a widow. I'm glad they changed it, and it's not some 15-year-old girl or something. But so he's got something of a relationship building with the widow in the village, and then he'll have to let it go. We were doing selfies. So eventually the samurai figure out where the bandits are, and they go burn down their camp. So this was another big complaint, right? People said, why the hell didn't they just blow up the ATST instead of the tent, right? Again, this is an adaptation of the original. They're trying to keep it pseudo-true to the way things have to work. The bandits ultimately have to attack, and like we said a minute ago, they have to have the technological advantage. So they couldn't blow up the ATST. So I don't know what you want out of this. Maybe they just didn't know where the ATST was hiding. It's pretty ridiculous. Mando would have found it since he tracked the damn thing, 2 miles into the forest. But it is what it is. I mean, the whole point is that it's sort of the artistic form that matters here more than the little plot holes that come up, right?
Right.
And then so I think the last thing is there's an assault. There's an assault and the villagers win, right? That's it. So those are the, I guess, rough parallels with the original. So we'll do the breakdown of the episode now, but we just want to get that out of the way up front because
we know it's Seven Samurai, so it has to be. Yeah, and there were certain things that had to happen,
and I thought it was awesome. Like,
oh yeah,
I love the episode.
Really good.
Yeah,
plot holes aside, it works. It really does.
Yeah. All right, I'll just get my one gripe out of the entire episode out of the way now.
Go ahead.
All right. So when he meets Kara, she says she's a shock trooper, right? A rebel shock trooper who was at the Battle of Endor.
Right.
Okay. They go to investigate this shit. Like, oh, they have an ATST. You didn't tell us that. Everybody pack your shit and get out. You can't beat this thing. Like, lady, you were at the fucking Battle of Endor where a goddamn Care Bear killed 3 of these things.
Right.
With logs.
Shut up.
Yeah.
So
outside of that nitpicky,
I put this in the notes.
I thought that too. I thought she says in the thing, I've seen that take out companies of men pretty quickly. And I thought to myself, I saw a bunch of teddy bears beat those things by tripping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yes, outside of that, that was my one, like, shut up.
Right. So,
but yeah, okay.
I have a counter to that. We'll get to it in a minute. Let's start the episode.
They were really shocky walks.
Yeah.
Shaka walks.
No. I don't really have a counter. What I was going to say is she obviously knows that they have vulnerabilities because the next thing she says when they're like,
we're not leaving.
We're not leaving. We're going to do this. Oh, well, we can build a pit trap. Okay, so obviously you know how to beat these things,
right?
And you've seen it done before. Like,
and she went straight Ewok on him.
Yeah, right.
So all I can hope is that it's thrown in there as sort of a joke because we didn't see ATSTs do shit but get wrecked.
Yeah.
Basically,
yeah.
right? Yeah. So anyway, we begin this with the peaceful village scene, right? Mm-hmm. And these guys come in and raid. I'm 99% sure those are Klatooinians. Pretty sure.
Sure.
Those dog-faced guys that were they were guards on Jabba's sail barge in Return of the Jedi.
Yes.
So I'm fairly certain that's what they are. Klatooinian. It's a whole mouthful, that's for sure. Okay, so then we cut to Mando's ship, and the kid is about to hit a button on a switch. I thought this was hilarious, right?
It was so amazing.
Yeah.
Right.
He's like, stop touching things. Kid gives him
and
this
he
little
looks right at him.
side eye.
And he clicks it.
Yep.
I don't know why it's so funny, but this little Yodelorian thing is cute to begin with, but him doing the sort of side eye,
because every one of us with kids has seen our kid do that. Like, don't touch that thing, and your kid just goes.
But the Mandalorian is probably better than all of us because he just picks him up and puts him on the knee, like, okay, all right,
you just stay right here and we'll fly.
I'm like, okay, do it again, child, do it again. So another little funny kickoff when they land on the planet, and he says, "You stay right here, don't go anywhere, don't touch anything." The minute he opens the door, and it's been like 4 seconds, the kid
is sitting right next to him, like, let's go.
So he's like, okay, fine, come along.
He has become the easiest memeable thing in the fucking world.
Yep. For sure.
We'll get into more of that later.
Yeah, I think Favreau has a knack for making memeable things. Just in general. The phrases, the pictures, the characters, like...
Yeah, because we had this conversation before about, like, the first one was, I've spoken.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And then it was,
and then this is the way.
Yeah.
And because it was all over the internet. I've spoken. This is the way. Now it's just consistently Mimi. Whatever the fuck you want to call it. Mimi Yoda.
Well, it's clever from a marketing standpoint, I guess, even if it's not intentional. I mean, it's no secret that this is trending number one now on streaming stuff, right? And this is part of the reason.
Yeah. Well, we could side note on the Yoda thing because I read an article that was hilarious. What the hell is his name? Who plays the client? It's
Werner Herzog.
Yeah. There's an article I read that was basically an interview with the director of one of the episodes where when they were talking about when they were creating this thing, and Favreau was like, well, no, let's just take the puppet away and we'll CGI it.
Oh, yeah.
And Herzog said, you don't have balls if you don't use this thing. This is perfect, right? And so you shoot over to another episode, and it was a female director that was doing whatever, and in between takes, he was turned and talking to the puppet like it was real. And she said in the interview, she was like, I'm trying to direct him, and he's talking to the puppet, and I just like looked up like, how did I fucking get here? So apparently it's just, even the actors are like enthralled with this thing.
Yeah, it's cute.
Yeah, that's all you can say.
So into the village common house they go, and we get a lovely little Easter egg of the Loth cat, right? Which they have at Galaxy's Edge at the cage.
Yeah,
in the creature
that
stall.
thing is awesome.
But that originated from the Rebels animated series, and I think that's the only place it's been seen until. There's definitely been no live action version of the cat until now. And it's a quick 5 seconds, but just like he always does, throwing in Easter eggs from previous movies, from previous series, from sometimes the most obscure shit. Not that the Loth Cat's obscure, but he's great at it.
Yeah,
He must record the whole thing and be like, hey, where could we fit these 50 Easter eggs in this episode? You know, I feel like it's ridiculous how many they do. By the way, if you want to see all the Easter eggs that we found, you can catch on our website at whatifgeeks.com. We do a post for every episode, and we're happy to add to it if you find something we didn't.
Hell yeah, let us know.
For it.
Yeah, we'll credit you. Yeah, there you go. We'll credit you for it.
So we get to see Cara Dune.
We're going to bribe these motherfuckers to interact with us.
That's right.
Nobody's interacting with us. We're like,
shit.
they're there. Yeah. They're on there, but nobody's like interacting with the podcast and whatever. So we got to jump that hurdle.
They interact on Facebook, though.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where everybody interacts, though.
Yeah, I know.
The website is really, really hard to get.
I just want to see them like referencing shit that we talk about in the podcast. You know what I mean? I want to meld all that into one. Yep. It's coming.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So we see Cara Dune for the first time here, played by Gina Carano, former MMA fighter, and she looks like a badass.
Hot.
Yeah. It carries on. So he, of course, he's suspicious of her, and he eventually wants to go outside to investigate after she leaves. And there is a fight scene that ensues that is part awesome and part hilarious because, he's fully armored, and she's face punching him, which Paul and I were talking about earlier.
Yeah, we talked about before we got started.
I'm wondering what species she is, because she can't just be human,
right? No. And he reacts to those punches to the head like they hurt, and I'm like, you're wearing a helmet. And yeah, you're in full Beskar armor. So like, why are you flicking like that hurts?
Yeah.
But she lands this one shot on him. Yeah. This one, I don't know what the hell it is, haymaker thing, where he hits the ground like face first and his body folds up. Oh my god, it's hilarious.
Yeah.
And it looks like he really got a whooping. And then what do we get next but the kid coming in sipping soup?
Yeah,
so freaking memeable.
Kermit the Frog is the new Kermit the Frog.
Yeah,
Kermit's
he's going away.
It's already on.
He's going away. That's it. He's
Kermit's done.
Threatened 10. That's got to be 10 years of memery now from Kermit the Frog sipping tea. None of my business.
Yeah, that none of my business one. That's gone. Now it is Yodelorian. I already saw one. It was a picture of him like that with the little soup cup right to his mouth, and it said, this is exactly my wife looking at me when I think I have a free weekend. Just plotting all the shit I'm about to do.
So we find out, they of course go have soup and everything's wonderful, I guess. But we find out Kara's a former shock trooper, as you already talked about. I don't think we've seen Rebel shock troopers in anything in the franchise.
No.
There's been Imperial shock troopers. I don't remember seeing any Rebel ones, though, so I'm not sure what they look like.
Unless they were just blended into the Indoor guys. I don't know.
Well, those guys.
Sure as fuck didn't see her
troopers
there.
Like special forces, right?
That's what I thought. But you would have thought those would have been the guys they sent to blow up that bunker.
We have to wonder if her...
Yep.
Right.
Yep. Whoops! There you go, Favreau.
All right, so as he's packing up to go, the farmers approach him. You know, he reluctantly agrees to help them, basically, after some back and forth. And then he convinces Kara to come along with him. And then there was something I noticed here that I just wanted to point out. He has bitched, the Mando has bitched, about droids piloting land speeders, skiffs, the whole thing. And now he just gets on one happily and go. So I'm wondering, and this may be subtle or it may be just complete bullshit on my part, but they're trying to set it up so that he doesn't hate droids anymore. Like, he's slowly weaning away. It went from, fuck you, no, never get on one of those things.
I think he's
Go find
changing
me a
overall.
human in a
Well,
broken
yeah, I think
land
the Yoda
speeder.
baby is softening
sure.
him up quite a bit.
He's
actually.
changing
But
just overall.
Yeah.
The motivation for him to hate droids is, I think we find out last episode, I mean, his whole family, everybody was killed by
and there was
droids,
a
right?
battle
That's
droid
gotta be
standing
his,
right there. Yeah.
So I don't know how the kid modifies that so quickly. I mean, I guess this is ultimately a couple months that passes, but
He's learned to love.
yeah, he's learned. Okay. Anyway,
all the
so
wrong places.
my only thought here is that this is a very early and very weak at this point setup for him to like IG-11 when he returns.
Probably. Probably.
Or at least agree to work with him.
Yeah.
Keep showing him in every freaking commercial and everything.
I
He's
know.
got to be
Yeah.
coming back.
Well, yeah, and he's been in. I think we talked about this maybe a couple episodes ago, but he's in a trailer that they released prior to the show that
Right.
we haven't seen the scene from yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cara Dune is talking to
Oh,
IG-11,
then he's gonna...
Yeah.
and she's like, "What
Well,
are you
there's also
waiting
that
for?"
shot
And
of,
IG-11 says, "Mando."
Yeah. There's a few shots out of the trailers that we haven't seen yet. So.
Well, in my opinion, I'm just going to interject this right now. The inner 13-year-old went batshit crazy when I saw him moving and shooting the way he did because, when you saw him, you saw IG-88 in Empire, he barely moved at all, but you said, holy shit,
Yeah.
that is the coolest fucking robot I've ever seen in my life.
Yep.
Why isn't he doing anything? And now you get to see this thing the way it really works, and it's like, that's what it's been missing for a long time, is seeing stuff like that. So, my interjection.
No, 'cause I really loved him too. The fact that they offed him in the first episode, I was like, oh, son of a bitch.
Yeah, I
It's
know.
like that whole interaction with I'm going to self-destruct. Don't
Yeah.
self-destruct.
Right.
I'm going to self-destruct. Don't self-destruct. That was fucking hilarious.
Yeah,
I'm like,
it
this is
was.
going to be a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they shot him. I'm like, oh, never mind.
I thought it was going to be like a buddy western, little
That's what-
Lone
Yeah.
Ranger and
Well,
Tano.
that's how they've
And
been
I'm
doing
sure
it.
it's going to
They've
come
been
back
combining
around
everybody.
where,
Yeah.
like we said, I think it's going to come back around to where he scoops up Kara, he scoops up...
Well, Kara, for what it's worth, Kara
Phil,
is
Frill.
now credited in episode
Quill.
6, 7, and 8.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
she's definitely coming back.
Yeah. I think he's going to scoop up all those main characters that we've
The
seen.
others are not yet.
Krill.
IG-11's not credited anything yet.
okay.
Quill is not credited
I
anything
mean, like
future
the
yet.
bad News Bears of Star Wars universe over here.
That'd be
You've
great.
got Giancarlo Esposito is
No, that
credited
was Solo.
for episodes
Oops.
7 and 8.
Oh, no.
And then there's a fellow called the Prisoner that's credited for 6, 7, and 8. So he's going to have something to do with something too, but we don't know who he is.
I wonder if that's Boba.
Anyway, we'll get. No,
Oh,
no, it's not.
No, not until season 2, right?
So they eventually arrive at the village. Everyone's nice and wonderful. Everything's kosher. The kids having fun. Everybody loves them. It's cuddly. Great time.
He spit out a frog, so apparently he's on a vegetarian
Yeah.
diet for the kids. That's nice.
So we do get a little more info about the helmet. Everybody's been wondering, how the hell does this work? Does he ever take it off? Blah, blah, blah. Well, so he does. He takes it off apparently every day, pretty much. But he just doesn't take it off in front of other people, which was the obvious answer to begin with. But,
Yeah.
nobody
Does that
wants to.
include the Yodelarian? I mean, he said he did it yesterday. So does he do
point.
it in front
he
of?
was asleep.
But
Yoda?
she asked him, when is the last time anybody saw your face? And he says, when I was that age, pointing at the kids outside. So
Yeah.
I'm going to have to
So
assume
probably,
no.
yeah,
he
he's-
doesn't.
So he has to
in
wait till
another
he's
room.
asleep.
Probably in another room of the ship.
Maybe he goes into the vac tube and
Just stands there against the wall.
Right. With the helmet off.
it does.
And that we can get into more of that later because we're running out of time.
Yeah.
But there's other arguments online about if that's if those laws still apply, blah blah blah, whatever. But it was kind of like one of those, because of the cartoons. There's some
Right,
of the
because of
cartoons they
Rebels.
weren't doing it
Well, so we
yet.
don't know what happened.
But you don't know if
between-
it's this strict. This
Yeah.
tribe is more strict. You
Well,
think about like
we
religious.
also don't even know if the others exist. I mean,
Right,
I think
yeah.
you've got maybe 2, 3, 4 BBY at best, and that storyline is over. And now we're at 9 BBY, and nobody knows that little gap. It's a little gap, but they keep talking about the Great Purge. So
Yeah, well, what their argument is like you see these other established Mandalorians that do take off their helmet. So is that even really a thing anymore? But you got to realize you have, because they
could
say
be
it's a religion.
like being
it could be
Orthodox.
like
He could
right,
be Orthodox,
Orthodox. Exactly. That was
There
my
you go.
point. It could be how strict is your religion, your specific group.
Yeah.
And that's how I took it.
Yeah.
Because most of the fans, instead of just like trying to come to a rational conclusion, they have to fucking complain about it and
Right.
nitpick it. So good.
So I'll blow through this because we already talked about it at the beginning, but they go into the woods to look for the bandits. They find the ATST footprints in there. They immediately go back and tell the villagers, you guys are fucked. You're going to have to leave.
Nice
blah,
knowing
blah, blah,
That's right. Set up your blue
And
shrimp
this-
farm somewhere else.
Yeah. And they call him Krill, too. How random is that?
Right.
Okay. Anyway, so, this is where she does the line with, I've seen the same thing take out companies of soldiers or whatever. I hope it's a joke because as we talked about a minute ago, we've seen
Teddy bears
companies
with
of teddy
hang
bears
gliders.
wreck them.
Yeah, that's
with-
the part
with-
she's
with
got like
rocks and
selective
sticks and
amnesia about.
logs,
Yeah.
So they start training the villager, and I want to assume this is an Easter egg just because it's funny. But what does she tell them? We got to build a trap, and so I just immediately thought, oh, it's a trap! It's a trap!
It's a trap.
But so she obviously knows the ATSTs have weaknesses, so she must have seen the battle. I'm really kind of upset about this, but
Well, they beat him with a Care Bear stare.
Yeah.
You know?
So ultimately, we get into the battle thing next. So Mando and Kara decide to go to the camp. They're going to blow the thing up and draw the guys out and make them come attack them, where they have the tactical advantage, right? Because they built the pit and all the defenses around there, and they've trained everybody, and they're ready. So hopefully that's what happens. So this ATST though pops up right after they blow up the tent, and it's an ATST, but it's different. It's got some jungle stripe paint on it. Its eyes are
Camouflage.
glowing red, or its internal lights are glowing red.
And that
Makes it look
see,
like
I've
red
heard,
eyes.
I've heard complaints about that. Like, what the hell is with the red eyes? Whatever is it like a droid now? Whatever. And I was like, no. If
No,
you
there's
look,
definitely
it's
somebody
the
in there.
interior lights.
Yeah.
Being in the Navy, when you're on a ship in the middle of the ocean, when it gets dark at a certain point, they go to darken ship, and
And they
all the
turn the
white
red
lights
on.
turn to red,
Yeah.
so you don't give away your position.
Yeah, we did the same
Out-
thing in
yeah.
the Army on field exercises.
Yeah.
We had red lights in our
Yeah.
flashlight instead of white.
And that's all they were doing. Because when it got closer, you could see the interior of the thing, and it's a red light inside. So that's all it was. It was just a red light for night operations. So it was actually, to me, it was a really cool little attention to detail for the military, the practicality of it. That's how they would have done it.
Plus, it makes the thing look demonic. So
So,
that's
yeah.
kinda fun.
Plus, it looked cool.
But, you have to look at the fact that this thing was probably picked up from somewhere.
yeah.
Right.
Maybe it was sitting after whatever war it was in.
Yeah.
They grabbed it, they painted it, they did whatever to it. And I think that's where, fans have to kind of mellow out a little bit and think about what they're talking about. Because,
Well, and the Klatooinians, if that's what they are, could have even done it on purpose just
Yeah.
to make the thing look scary.
well, that's what they
like
probably
these
did.
primitive
Given it-
villagers don't know a
Yeah.
whole lot about what's
It's a monster
what's
to
what.
them.
And
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
all right. So anyway, they draw the ATST back to the camp, and for whatever reason, this goddamn thing stops in front of the pit. I really still don't understand why it stopped
I expected
there.
it to look down and look side to side at
Yeah.
that point. Like,
Then it's a droid.
I mean,
Yeah.
I get that they did that for the sort of suspense factor, but like, why did it actually stop? Could you not have given it a reason?
Yeah.
Something that like made sense. It's just like, oh, the rice patty. Oh, no,
I don't wanna get
or
my
the
feet
krill,
wet.
The krill. It's
I don't
not
want to
a
get my
rice
feet
patty.
wet.
Krill pond.
Oh, Noah's here.
Oh, thanks, buddy.
I'm
I assume
pretty
this
sure
is
it's
for
not
Presley,
for-
right?
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Noah's delivering birthday gifts because he was sick.
He was sick.
So Kara leans over. This is another thing I don't get. Kara leans over to Mando and says, "Hey, I'm going to need your pulse rifle. New plan, right?" What the fuck does she need the pulse rifle for? There's nothing they have that can penetrate the armor of the ATST.
Yeah.
What does it matter if you have a blaster or a blaster? What do you need the pulse rifle for? Stop wasting the guy's ammo. For
I
Christ's
thought
sake.
maybe like up close, maybe it could like freeze a joint or some shit.
I
like that.
thought
Like
she was going
I
to
thought
do
she was gonna
something.
shoot out
I
the
thought,
light.
I
Yeah.
thought the light could be it. I was thinking that it's been shown in other films that the gear part under the bottom is weak. That she might, oh fuck, the trap's not going to work. I'm gonna,
Right.
But no, it wasn't that.
I thought that because the way the light was shining down, they could see that it was about to step off dry land into the water, and so that's why it stopped. And then she was going to shoot at the light, and then they were like, "Oh, now shit, what are we going to do?" So it would take one more step forward, and then
Right.
that's what I thought she was
well,
doing.
it
we
felt a
really-
little cheap.
Yeah.
Well, another thing I was thinking about when I watched the episode is these guys probably just procured this thing. They probably barely know how to operate it. So that could be another reason too. Is maybe they did detect water, and maybe they were just like, "Oh shit, what do we do now?"
Yeah.
You know, that could be something like that too.
Possible.
So, yeah, that's
That'll work.
yeah.
We'll
Yeah,
give
that'll
it
work.
writing
Fuck
again.
shit. Yeah.
I'm going to repeat, this is an adaptation, so I
Yeah.
give them a lot of leeway here
Yeah.
because the ultimate goal of this is not to write a really cool story that everybody's going to love so much as it was a nod to Lucas and a nod to, one of his biggest inspirations, in Akira. So,
Yeah.
fine. Deal with
Yeah,
it.
it's cool. There's some point she does finally, they shoot the armor flap, so...
Yeah, I mean, the whole point is, right, the technologically impaired villagers have to beat the big bad monster.
Yeah.
Yep. So they are, of course, victorious.
Yes.
Hey!
Yeah,
And then we cut to the, I guess it's the final scene, really. It seems to be like maybe 2 months later. It's been
He
it's been
specifically
some time.
says the last few weeks here.
Yep.
So there has been the first of what I'm envisioning is going to be multiple time jumps throughout the series.
Yeah, and well, if it's anything like the movie, they spent months training these guys before any of this happened, too. And we don't really know the timeline, so...
Yeah.
But he could have been there quite a long time.
Yeah, because they only talk the last few weeks from the time they blew that thing up.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what he's referencing there. So, yeah, they could have been there quite a while.
Yeah, so it's hard to know. But I actually like that. They did that, and they didn't train them all in a week and fight a battle. And then they were rolling out, and a bounty hunter somehow found them in a place he thought was going to be really hard to find. So I'm glad that there was a huge time lapse.
Yeah.
So Cara Dune and Mando are sitting outside of a hut or whatever talking. We get a little more detail about the code. She asks him, well, what happens if you do take it off? And it's like, nothing.
He's like, I can't
she
put it
thinks
back
you're
on
going to get
again.
killed.
Yeah.
The Mandos are going to come out.
Your head's going to blow up.
No, I just can't put it back on. And I think there's a callback there to sort of a samurai code thing, which you see in Seven Samurai, but you see in a million samurai movies, right? And that has to do with the top knot.
Yeah, because and she basically tells him, like, what are you, fucking stupid? This mom wants to lay your...
Yeah.
So
settle down, dude.
Right.
Just chill.
There's a scene in the very beginning of Seven Samurai where the main Ronin is actually cutting his own top knot off, and there's like a priest there with him, like shaving the rest of his head or whatever. And there's like a cultural thing there where once you do that, you're sort of shamed, and that's it. Your time in that profession at least is over. So it seems like the Mando's code is something along those lines. Like if you ever remove the helmet, it's just that's it.
Yeah.
You're done. This is no longer your life.
Right.
The Mandos won't accept you anymore. It's a weird cultural thing, but I mean it makes sense, and I like that they put it in this episode where they're already making the references to ancient Japanese, Edo era culture for Japan.
Well, was it episode 1 when he goes to the armorer and she asks him, "Has anyone seen your face?"
Oh, that's the Forge fight scene.
Yeah.
With Paz Vizsla.
Right.
Yeah, that was
right.
Two.
That was 2.
2 or 3. It's after he gets the. No.
No,
the very
it's
first
the
one.
very first episode.
Very first one. She asks
him
because then she asks
has
him,
anyone seen your face?
Has your sigil been?
Has your signet been revealed? Yeah.
Because first it has anyone seen your face? Yeah.
Yeah.
So no.
Well, whatever it happened, it happened.
Yeah, that's cool.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
It's just another cool Mandalorian thing.
the widow tries to convince him to stay at this point. Cara, of course, thinks he should settle down too.
Yeah.
But it wasn't meant to be. Just like Seven Samurai, the relationship isn't meant to be. It can't happen. They're worlds apart. Cultural thing. He's got a code to follow.
She's getting ready to take his helmet off.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
like, ooh.
Yeah.
So luckily, it doesn't happen, and I don't think it's time for it to happen yet. So
No.
we'll let it go. But,
I knew it wasn't going to happen.
And then,
But-
so what really stops it though is a bounty hunter finds them or finds the kid,
Yeah.
and he's gonna
'cause
apparently
they're
blow his
all
head off.
after the
They're
kid.
done
Yeah.
with the dead or alive. It's just dead now.
Yeah. Just kill this little fucker.
And somehow a little bit more movie magic. Cara happened to be in the woods there to pop the guy
Tracking the
before
bounty
it was
hunter,
too
yeah.
late.
Dude, when he zeroed in on the kid, I
Yeah.
was like, oh, it's going to suck.
Yeah.
I was like, is he going to do like a Kylo Ren?
I thought for sure the bolt.
That's-
I thought he was going to stop the
Yeah,
bolt.
I thought he was going to stop the bolt. And then you hear the shot, and you see him slump over, and Kyra's behind him, and I was like, all right, that was cool. Again, like you said, how the fuck she got back there.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
okay.
yeah, whatever.
We'll take it. I'm
Yeah.
really not mad at anything this show does, if I'm being honest. But,
No.
But okay, so that makes Mando realize this isn't the place for the kid anymore. They got to go. He was thinking about leaving him there, and leaving himself, but leaving the kid behind for the widow to take care of.
Yeah, but now he knows that he can't because
now
every
he knows.
bounty hunter in the galaxy
so,
is after this kid.
I think we're going to see a huge story shift here because before he thought I can run away. I think now when he went to a planet, he thought no one will ever find me here, and in a couple months they found him and almost killed the kid. I think he's going to realize at this point there's only one way out of this, and that's to figure out who put the bounty on him and to end their life.
Yep.
So I think that's the way we're headed now. We don't know where the Mando goes. He just back to the ship at this point. We don't know what happens for episode 5. We'll have to wait and see for Friday. But I think he's going to be on his way back to figure out where it's at and how he can stop it.
I think so. Yeah.
Because he can't run forever. Like he will. He will always be chased.
Yeah. So something's going to happen. He's going to find out. All right, we shall see. So overall, another excellent episode. I loved it. It was great.
Yeah.
That kid keeps growing on me.
And we had another new director here too, just for a mention. This was Bryce Dallas Howard with this one.
Yep.
Yeah, she did a really good job.
Wow. I didn't see that.
Yeah.
The thing I liked about it the most surprisingly was because it didn't focus on Baby Yoda.
Yeah.
It was completely, I was waiting for that episode where all of a sudden we're not worried about this little kid and his bounty and whatever. It took on its own life, went its own direction, and now we're back to saving the kid again.
Yeah.
So that was really good.
I did wonder for a minute at the end of the episode if going forward we were going to do a series of Mando just goes planet to planet righting wrongs with the kid, like finding little villages that need help. Like he's the A-team. He's somewhere between like the A-team, the Equalizer, and MacGyver sort of.
That was another feeling I got. Like if B.A. Baracus came flying out of there in the van, that would have been.
Well, I think that's what's coming soon because I think we're going to see all these characters come back together again. You're going to have an A-team.
Yeah.
If you need help and you can find him, maybe you can hire the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Right.
So my running prediction, which I've spread on the website, is they're probably going to try to find 7 heroes and keep this 7 samurai thing running.
I think so.
And that could be Cara Dune, Quill, the repaired IG-11 or a different IG-11, however you have to play it out. Mando. And then I don't know who the next 2 are. Paz Vizsla seems like a good choice.
Yeah, get another Mandalorian
especially since
in
the 2 of them have conflict, but then there's a salute at the end, another Easter egg we talked about last time. But then I don't know who's the Yodalorian. Yodalorian.
Yeah, Baby Yoda's in there.
And then you're left one more. Who's the one more? Is the Armorer going to come out? Is there going to be a new character?
The Prisoner.
The Prisoner.
Whoever
The Prisoner could be it. We know Bill Burr, the comedian, is going to play a character in this.
It's going to be amazing.
Bill Burr's going to be in this?
Yeah.
Oh
and so
God.
we don't know if he's
Family Guy.
We don't know if he's bad guy or good guy or what, but he's going to be in this, so maybe he'll be the 7th. But I think there's going to be a group of heroes, and whatever the challenge is in the end, which is probably going to involve Giancarlo Esposito for at least the last couple episodes.
Yeah.
It will take all of them to make it through. I mean, I think that's what they're going to do. I hope that's how they end it. They don't have to continue on season 2 that way. That can be the culmination of season 1, and they can go their way. It can still be the Mando, but for him to have a posse, as we've said, a posse, is something that this is missing anyway.
And I think it's going to happen. I mean, they're really going towards that direction. So
I think so.
Surprised if they do.
All right, so we'll close on that unless anybody's got any other thoughts.
I guess I just interject. We were talking about this earlier before we recorded. I'm not a huge fan of the new Star Wars. Woo, hold me back, in case
I'm not either.
Okay.
I'm not either. I've expressed that.
And we will definitely delve into that later. But
But the thing I like about this is it really does harken back to that kind of mid to late 70s vibe with the way it's filmed, especially the end credits, which to me are fantastic with the acrylic paintings.
Yeah.
And a song that is very reminiscent of Rocky. I don't know.
I said that.
Yeah, so it is. It definitely is.
Big
It definitely
Rocky vibe to it, which is just so fucking awesome. You just want to hear that over and over again.
Yeah.
And then
the first time I played, I was like, "This motherfucker's gonna punch Apollo Creed in the face."
Yep. It's exactly what I saw when I first, because I caught it 3 episodes in because I just got Disney Plus, so I had to binge the first few episodes.
Yeah.
And that was all I could think of, and it really just harkened back because Rocky came out just a few months before Star Wars. It was all in that same era. and it really felt like it came from as a product of that time, and that's what Star Wars is missing now for me.
Yeah.
Because that's what I grew up with. So for me, it just fits perfectly.
The one other theming we've talked about before that's sort of missing from the new Star Wars is the Western feel to things.
Absolutely.
And so it was there heavily in the original trilogy. It was there at least somewhat in the prequel trilogy.
Right.
It's gone in the sequel.
Yeah,
trilogy.
we'll get
It's
into
not
the
there
lack
at all.
of story cohesion later.
Got about 5 hours. I can rant on that.
Yeah,
Maybe
no,
half
don't
on
worry
my
about it. We
own
will.
site.
But this
Between now
puts
and-
everything that was missing
Oh yeah.
right back in, and then some, and then some.
That's that.
Alrighty, cool. So yeah, let's get ready for episode 5.
Yes.
This Friday. Alright, cool. So again, hit us all up. Ray's got his own separate shit. If you want to throw your website on there one more time.
TheArcadeArchives.com is where you can watch some of my cool stuff, and hopefully I'll be podcasting again soon. But you can catch all of the literal probably 60 podcasts that are on there right now, and check out and see where we've come from, and probably where we're going. And I'd love to hang out with you guys again. This is freaking amazing, man.
Yeah.
So,
We will see you in about another 30 seconds.
All right. I'm still here? Okay,
Yeah. We're going to keep on
I'm
going.
not fired yet.
Yeah, we got another one. All right, yeah, so check us out at whatifgeeks.com. Hit us up at whatifgeeks@gmail.com. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Smoke Signal, all that shit. All right, we'll check you guys later. Good night, Tony.
Good night, Lothcat.
Lothcat, that's a good one. Good night, Kara.